I finally was able to treat myself with respect and kindness, the same way I so freely give it to others. Because I'll be the cheerleader and I'll be like, girl, you can do it, but I'm like beating myself up when I don't get to do some of the things that I want to do, or I don't get it right, and all those things. So but I finally come to this level where I have this beautiful relationship with myself, where I'm so kind to me. Like, I move with so much ease, with so much calm, and if it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, this is God's thing. I don't try to do things by myself anymore. I don't try Hey there, friends. You are welcome back to another week on the Xoxo podcast, a podcast created to help you build healthy daily habits and also to encourage you enough to go on the journey of becoming the person that you were created to be. My name is Courage. I am your host, and I really want you to just feel at home. If you're listening on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you are watching on YouTube, I want to tell you that you are home. Grab a cup of coffee because we're going to have a 2024 chit chat today. I was having a moment of reflection the other day, and that's where this episode was actually born from, because I was looking at all the moments of 2024, both the big and the small moments. And one thing I can say about 2024 is it's not been the most perfect year. It's been a really hard year. Now, I don't know about you, but I had some really hard moments this year, moments where I literally didn't think I would be able to make it. But for some reason too, it's also been one of the best years of my life. And that's amazing, right? I was able to grow a lot this year, mentally, spiritually, also physically. I was able to learn and unlearn a lot of things. And I was also able to finally have some grounding habits that actually took me through life on my hardest days and also on my best days. And today I wanted to share with you guys some of those grounding habits, also share with you guys some of the things that I did that really changed my life this year, and possibly some of the lessons that I've also learned from this year. And I really hope that this encourages you to also maybe take out some time to try to look back at the year and look at the things that worked for you, the things that didn't work for you, the things that you want to take into the new year, and just see how that works out for you, okay? So our first chapter in this episode would be me giving you guys a few key things that really changed the trajectory of my life this year. The first thing was I actually deepened my relationship with God and myself. And this didn't come like me just waking up one day and me like, oh, I want to go deeper with the Lord. I literally wasn't thinking about that as much, but I went through some really defining moments this year that had me to stop in my tracks and actually get to want to even know my Savior more. I wanted to be able to get into a deep relationship with Him because there were a lot of changes. I wasn't understanding so many things, and it had me to go back to Him, start asking Him questions, get curious. And by doing that, I was able to grow this beautiful, honest relationship with Him. And I wrote something down that I wanted to read to you all because I just knew I'd mess it up if I just said it out of my head. This year, I embraced a healthier father-daughter bond with God. And I finally learned how to truly love and accept myself the way I was created. I also started setting healthy boundaries. I started prioritizing self-care, and I also started treating myself with kindness and respect. Now, one thing that I would say that really changed my life was that as I got to know God on a deeper level, I was able to finally see myself the way He saw me. And when I started seeing myself like that, I finally was able to treat myself with respect and kindness, the same way I so freely give it to others. Because I'll be the cheerleader and I'll be like, girl, you can do it, but I'm like beating myself up when I don't get to do some of the things that I want to do, or I don't get it right, and all those things. So, but I finally come to this level where I have this beautiful relationship with myself, where I'm so kind to me. Like, I move with so much ease, with so much calm, and if it doesn't happen, I'm like, oh, this is God's thing. I don't try to do things by myself anymore. I don't try to control situations. I just really have grown to a place where I trust God so much with everything. And I'm telling you, the amount of peace that is on this other side of trusting God, you cannot even explain it to another person, because I've always used to love when I see people that are so calm, even when the world is literally falling apart. I'm like, how do they do that? Well, it's because they have finally learned to trust their creator. And that is the exact place that I was able to move and build and grow towards, right? And the next thing that I did, which was so beautiful, was I intentionally had to walk on the attribute of obedience, of control. I was very intentional this year about letting go of control of so many things. Like I got to a point where I realized that the reason why I was anxious and overwhelmed all the time is because I was constantly trying to come up with solutions to every single thing that was happening to me. But I was finally able to get to a point where, and I'm telling you, it's not easy. Every single day is it's a thing that I have to wake up and decide to do. So I'm intentional about it. Every single day I wake up and be like, I let go of control. God is on top of this situation. I don't have to try to figure things out. It's something that I have to constantly remind my human brain, and many of you would relate to this too. So I love that I get to be intentional about this. So for me, this has been so big, letting go of control, leaning into obedience, actually doing the things that God has told me to do, not questioning him about everything, because I literally will be looking for real reasons why I should do the things that he said I should do. So, but I finally let go of control, and it's been the most beautiful thing. So another thing that I did this year was to finally let go of unnecessary weight. And when I talk about unnecessary weight here, I mean that I finally learned to separate people's actions from my worth. And sometimes, like, I try to literally put myself in people's shoes, and aside from putting myself in people's shoes, I turn to see on the brighter side of life, to be honest, because someone might just be having a fit in the morning, because I commute every single morning. Someone, maybe they didn't sleep well, and I'm not saying it is an excuse for someone to be rude to you in the morning. I'm just saying that when you actually don't make it all about you, you realize that it wasn't about you to begin with. You would be surprised at how wrong we are with what we assume to know about other people and assume to know what they're thinking. I'm telling you, people ain't thinking about you how you think they're thinking about you. That person who hit you in the morning, literally, he's running off to work. He's forgotten about you. So what I've learned to do is to not take people's actions personally. And I learned this from a beautiful girl that I watch on YouTube here. She's called Tam Kaur. She literally taught me how to literally let go and not try to attach my worth to how someone responded to me in the morning, to how someone treated me or anything. It's just a reflection of them. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying if I take it too personally, I end up ruining my entire day. That's why right now I'm just like, I look at everything and I'm just like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. I've just seen that I'm just wasting my energy and I'm just wasting my time if I'm trying to understand every single thing, understand every single action, or try to put two and two together all the time. Like, it ain't gonna work like that. You're just gonna get tired and all that. The last thing which really changed my life this year was me being intentional with noticing joy in unexpected places. I saw and found joy in places that I never thought I would. I'm a hobbies girl. I love taking solo trips. I enjoy the fact that I have so many hobbies, and it took me a while to actually get to this point where I'm like, I'm so happy I'm interested in so many things, because I used to feel weird about it because so many people are not. So you who is, sometimes people are like, why are you like this? And someone's just gonna be like, pick one thing. But I'm like, God gave me all of this. But what I'm trying to say is I had to learn so much that whatever God has placed in my hands is not mine, it's his, and my job is just to steward it. And aside from stewarding it, he gave me to use it. If I don't use it, I lose it. And I'm not saying that it's gone, but I'm just saying if I want to be a part of whatever God is doing on the face of the earth. So if he gave me something to do, if he put something in my hand, I want to use it to his glory and for his fame. And I remember an old lady that she prays over me and talks to me from time to time. She told me one time, and she was like, Courage, bro, at least you are using the things that God has given you. It's like, some people are not using it, but at least you're using it. So I want you to continue using it, because it just became weird at some point. I was like, why, whatever. But then, yeah, so I love the fact that I was able to find joy in the fact that I have so many hobbies and I have so many interests and got to meet a lot of new people. I try to bunch of new things this year. I went for Pilates. I tried to do group workouts. I went to new places that I've never been before. I faced my fear in doing so many weird things, and I would say it made my year even much more colorful and so much more beautiful. I really wanted to quickly share with you guys some of the things that I did this year that were my grounding habits, that even when seasons were changing, because life is in seasons and in times. There are seasons where you need to focus more on your career, another season you need to focus on your family, on yourself, on service to other people, on your relationships and your friendship. There are different seasons in our lives, and our job is to adjust as we go. Having habits that you can always fall back to actually helps to align you even when you go off, and even on your hardest days and on your best days. So I have a few habits that for me are very constant in my life. I do it in and out of season. I don't follow it all the time to the T. I don't think there's anyone who can say that I do these things every single day all the time, because sometimes we do as we feel. There were a couple of times this year where I used to run a lot, and there was a season where I just couldn't run anymore. I started jumping rope. I jumped rope for a while, and then it wasn't working out for me. I decided to start going for walks. I'm currently in my season of walking, and I don't know what the next season is going to look like. But I just know that moving my body is a part of my grounding routine. I have to move my body. It aligns me, it centers me back. So the first habit that I have is a morning and an evening routine. A typical morning for me looks like having my unrushed time with Jesus. That would be journaling, prayer, being in my Bible. Sometimes I just sit quiet for like 30 minutes and just like listen to the Lord. And it doesn't have to look the same all the time. Depending on how the Spirit of God is leading me that day, I follow and I just go. And I go for my walk, or I just move my body. So it just involves unrushed time with God and moving my body. That's my mornings. And my evenings, I love watching Jackie Hill Perry in the evening, or watching a sermon. I love watching live church. So I just watch videos in the evening that I can learn something from, or train myself in the things that I want to become, or the things that I want to do. Like, I just watch videos in the evening. I read a book some days I journal, but actually I journal every single day. I cannot do anything without journaling. So journaling is a thing for me. Like, I have to journal. So yeah, for me, no matter how my life looks like, even on some days when I miss it, I just know that these are my grounding habits that I will always come back to. And the other grounding habit for me is doing a digital detox. Now, you guys know I am now an anti-social media evangelist, and I'm not saying like no social media. For me right now, I just try to tell people, reduce your time on there. And I'm not saying too much about it. Like, I just be like, just reduce your time on there, and you will see the drastic change that it will have in your life. And I've been talking a lot about this on the Instagram and just like with friends. I think the other day a friend of mine was saying, Courage, I don't know what we're going to do to be able to restore this relationship that you have with social media. I'm like, girl, it's going to take a while. Number one, social media has traumatized me. Aside from it traumatizing me, I've seen that I've gotten back my time when I stopped spending a lot of it on there. And aside from social media, I went through this season this year where I felt very overwhelmed with information, because for me, I read a lot of books, I do a lot of research. If I find a word, I will read 50 articles about that word. So I'm a little bit curious, maybe too curious, and so sometimes that can be good and sometimes that cannot be good, So I was so overwhelmed with the information, and I had to put a pause to it. And when I did, I found out how beautiful that was. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I gotta keep doing it, because usually I would take like 1 month period off social media and off the media, and then I'll come back, and then you spiral and you go back to the same things. So I found out that didn't work for me. So I decided to start doing one day every single week, but since I run a podcast and I want to be, online, or at least I want content to keep going out, I would schedule my stuff. I schedule everything. So it looks like you're there, but you're not there. So that works out so beautifully and so well. So for me, it's just reducing my time on social media and, not listening to every podcast, and just seeing how that works out for me. So another habit, which some people are not going to say it's a habit, but I was very intentional with rest. I'm telling you, being intentional with rest has changed my life. I have do nothing days. I put it in my calendar, do nothing. you just have to sit on the couch, grab a cup of tea. Like, it's not you being lazy. Your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul will thank you later. You need those intentional rest days. Doing nothing is also something. I heard Jackie Hill Perry say this, and it is true. Nothing is something, in case someone tries to argue with you. But then be intentional with your rest. Heal your body so that you can be present when you go out to meet with friends, with sisters, with brothers, whatever it is, with your family. You can be present and not saying, oh, this hurts, my brain is hurting, and all those kind of things. Give your body time to rest and heal. Your mind also needs that. And another thing I was intentional with, which is another habit that people say it's not a habit, it's setting boundaries on myself. I love sleeping early, so I had to set a boundary for myself. My alarm goes off, wherever I am at 10 p.m. at night, my alarm will go off, go home, sleep, start winding down to get to sleep. So for me, that's so huge. And I had to put a boundary to be able to, have that behavior or that routine or that habit come to life. And I had to put boundaries on so many things. I don't go everywhere. You ain't gonna see me everywhere no more. And just learning that just because something is good doesn't mean it's a God thing, and just because it's something that is good, it doesn't mean I should be doing it. I have to pick my battles. I have to pick the things that I'm paying attention to. Not everything needs my attention. And that goes both ways. There are some things that literally I look at, I'm like, I'm not gonna give my time and my energy to this thing. I'm like, no, I want to live. I don't want to die. This is not my fight. I literally will step back and I'm like, we ain't doing that anymore. So, but it's for you to know what is for you and what is not for you. And how do you know that? It's when you've spent enough time getting to know yourself, then you can be able to know what is for you, what is not for you, and you can also be able to discern the voice of the Lord in your life and know what He wants you to do, where He wants you to go, and how He wants you to live. My last habit, which I've talked about on this podcast bunch of times again and again and again, is the habit of practicing gratitude. Whether I journaled in the morning or not, 5 things I'm grateful for is a constant for me. You can have a little pocket journal in your bag. I think that works out very well. Like, I do it, and I know so many other people who do it. Write down 5 things you're grateful to God for every single day. The breath in your lungs, the fact that you have food, the fact that you have legs that can walk, that's a big testimony. I'm telling you guys, every single day of your life is a special day. Okay, it doesn't have to be the graduation, it doesn't have to be the wedding, it doesn't have to be that big thing. Every single day of your life is the best day of your life. You make it what it's supposed to be. So wake up every single day and be like, this is another beautiful day of my life. That equals to my wedding day. That equals to my graduation day. So I really want to encourage you to be intentional with your life. There is this analogy, which I don't really want to call it an analogy, but it's something that I have in my heart and I have at the back of my mind, especially this year. And it came to me, I would say, in the last quarter of the year. So as I studied Ecclesiastes, and then I went through the book of Job, and I also studied some parts of the Bible that really had my mind thinking. And I also experienced a lot of things this year that had me stop and think in my tracks a lot. And I've shared this, I think, just to 2 friends. And I asked them, I was like, have you ever just maybe sat down one day and thought that, what if Jesus didn't actually come in my time? Like, what if this lifetime that I have right now, Jesus didn't come back? We're all waiting for the day He returns. But what if He doesn't return while you are in your 40s, or you are in your 50s, or you are in your 60s? What if He doesn't return in your lifetime? Then what? It would mean you die. And dying is not a bad thing, actually. I don't know why people are actually scared of that word. It's not a bad thing like that. I heard my pastor say something a few weeks ago in church, and he was like, if I die now, I'm happy, I'll be in heaven. And I was so moved that he said that, because I looked at him and I was like, this is a secure man. He's not scared of death, so because he knows where he's going to. But anyways, I'm just saying that if you actually sit down and think about, what if Jesus doesn't come in my time, it changes how you live your life. Now let's look at it properly. If you think about Christians, we are not as many as we think we are. Like, I know it looks like we are so many, but we are not. And the percentages do not even match up. We have a lot of Muslims, we have a lot of atheists, we have a lot of Buddhists, and now we have the new ones, which I think soon they will come up to the category of a religion, which is like these new age people. And I'm talking about horoscopes and crystals and all these things, people reading into people's future. That is literally gaining a lot of following right now. So if you look at it properly, there are still a lot of lost people that need to get the word of God, that the gospel needs to be preached to, and then they get the choice, because God is a beautiful God. He gives you the gift of, choice. You can choose whether to say yes or no to him. And I'm from Africa. In Africa, like, they know us as a continent that is the most religious. Like, we know God in my continent, but I can tell you that there are still some parts of Africa that they don't know what a Bible is. They've never heard of God, they've never heard of Jesus, they just don't know anything. I'm just trying to say, if you look at it properly, there are still a lot of people that need to hear the gospel. We still need a lot more laborers to be able to take this gospel to them. So I think when you think about that, it actually shifts your mindset and it shifts the way you live life, because you're like, if Jesus might or might not be coming in my lifetime, what then am I doing with my time? How am I living my life? How am I intentional with my actions, with my words? How am I intentional with every single thing in my life? And I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm telling you guys, I got a lot of hobbies. I'll be traveling here and there. Like, this is what fun looks like to me, but have fun with your life. But what I'm just trying to say is intentionality will help you out a lot, because there are some things that you're just going to look at and be like, I ain't going to waste my time on that. It also helps you to be able to forgive better. You're not going to take offense very easily, because you know how fickle life is and how fickle the heart of man is also. It will help you to just have a better and bigger perspective in life. And I'm telling you guys, living by this analogy, which I really don't want to call it an analogy, has shifted my entire mindset, has shifted how I relate to people, how I relate to myself, and how I relate to God, and even how I relate to circumstances and situations in life. I'm telling you this to maybe have you sit down and do a reflection and see how you want to walk into the next year, and see how you want to plan how you're going to live your life the next year. Be intentional. Let go of every weight. Put every burden on Jesus. And if you're anxious and if you're overwhelmed, you're feeling all these things, I want you to know that you have a high priest that really relates to you. So I want you to deepen your relationship with him. Have a beautiful friendship with him. Be honest with him. Be vulnerable with him, because in that, it will flow through every single area of your life. So, I've talked a lot and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys next week. I'm having a guest that I have been looking forward to. She's a dream guest, and I'm just so grateful that I get the opportunity to be able to sit down with her, and the opportunities that God has been bringing into my way. I think that's something I'm working out of 2024 with, just grateful heart. And I really love to know what 2024 taught you guys. Let me know in the comment section on YouTube, on Spotify. I'd really love to get to connect with you guys on that. In the meantime, my friends, stay kind, stay hopeful, stay beautiful. Bye.